Good morning everyone. This is the second chapter, file handling in Python. Introduction to files. Now what is files? Whatever we are creating the code by using our coding language, like over here this is the Python language. So we are writing the code in the Python. We are storing the data. We are taking the input from the keyboard, and then we are storing the data as in the secondary storage devices. And whatever we are writing the code, that will be in the primary devices. So firstly we are writing the program, that is as the input, that should be using the keyboard. Then we are writing it by using different variables. This is under the execution process. After that we are storing the data as in the secondary storage as a file. Likewise, the data entered and the output can be stored permanently into the file. So that is only the file. Okay, now types of files. Computers store every file as a collection of OS, that is operating system. We are storing the data, we are storing the file, that is collection of data as of the operating system, and that is in the binary form, that is ones form. Whatever data we are collecting it as the primary memory, and we are storing that data in the secondary memory, that is secondary devices. That all data are in the binary format, that is in the computer understandable language. And whatever data we are getting it as in the secondary storage, that is human understandable language. Okay, so therefore every file is basically just a series of bytes stored one after the another. Every file we are storing in the byte format, that is one after the another. There are mainly two types of data files, text file and binary file. Okay, the text file consists of human readable characters. Whatever text file we are considering, that is in the human readable characters, which can be opened by any the text editor form. That file will be open in text editor form, that file will be open. On the other hand, binary files are made up of non-human understandable characters, means that is in the binary format, and symbols, which require specific programs to access its contents. We require specific programs, means whatever data we are getting, that will be by using the keyboard, that is binary format, that is computer understandable language. And finally we are getting the output in the human understandable language, that are basically human readable characters and symbols, which require the specific programs to access its content. Now we are going to take detailed explanation about the types of file. First one is your text file. We are writing that files in the notepad, that is text editor. Okay, that is in the .text file, .py, that is Python file, .csv file. Okay, these are the types of text file that will be written in the notepad. Okay, these are several lines of text. However, the file contents are not stored in such a way internally. We are not storing that file contents are not stored in such way internally. We are storing that files in the internal format. Okay, rather they are stored in sequence of bytes consisting of OS and ones, zeros and ones format. We are storing that data in the byte format. Okay, that is in the ASCII code, Unicode, or any other encoding scheme. The value of each character of text file is stored as bytes. Okay, we are storing that text file as a byte format. So while opening a text file, the text editor translates each ASCII value and shows us the equivalent character that is readable by the human being. Okay, whatever data we are taking, that will be in the zeros and ones format, that is bytes ka format, and that is in the ASCII and Unicode. So that is encoding scheme. We are opening in the text editor as each ASCII value and shown that character, equivalent character, that is readable by the human being. For example, the ASCII value 65. So the binary equivalent is what? 1 0 0 0 0 0, that is 50 and again 1. will be displayed by the text editor as a letter A. So that will be a letter A. If you are going to find out from 1 to 9, that will be zeros and ones का format. After that will be ASCII characters are going to handle. So that will be in the format of zeros and ones. So that will be 10. If it is 10, that is A. If it is 11, that will be B. So this is A. Binary equivalent का number that is in the byte format, that is letter considered as A, since the number 65 in ASCII character set represented as A. Each line of text file is terminated by the special character called as end of line. Each line of text file is terminated by the special character called as end of line. For example, default EOL character in Python is the new line. Okay, end of line means if you are going to write something in the next line, you have to consider it as L/N. Okay, that is end of line. When a text editor of program interpreter encounters the ASCII equivalent of EOL character, it displays the remaining file content starting from a new line. Okay, new line we are considering, so it will be a /n. Contents in the text file are usually separated by white spaces. Okay, so if you are considering in the separated line, separated format, that will be by commas and /t are also commonly used to separate values in the text line. In the text file, if we are considering some of the values, we have to terminate the white space, so that will be from comma and /t. Okay, then binary files. Binary files are also stored in terms of bytes, zeros and ones. Zeros and ones format, that will be byte, but unlike text file, these bytes do not represent the ASCII values of character, rather than represent the actual content such as audio, video, compressed version of other files, executable files. Okay, that is will be your binary format. Okay, binary format you know already, that will be your binary file, zeros and ones. Over here also 0 and 1 was considered, but the difference is what? We are considering a text file that will be in the text editor by using the different text extensions, and for that purpose when we are storing that data, that will be in the ASCII and Unicode. And over here binary files considered as a 0 and 1, and these bytes do not represent the ASCII value of characters. Rather, it will represent the content such as image, audio and video, and compressed version of other files. Okay, so that is what your binary file, that will be stored in computer in sequence of bytes. In bytes ka format that will be stored. Okay, even a single bit change can corrupt the file and make it unreadable to the supporting application. Also, it is difficult to remove any error which may occur in the binary file. If will occur in the binary file, that will be finding the errors. Okay, and then we can read and write both text and binary files through Python programs. Okay, that is your binary files. Now opening and closing a text file. Opening and closing a text file. In real world application, computer programs deal with data coming from different sources like databases, CSV file, HTML, XML, JSON file. Okay, that is your file ka format. Okay, we broadly access files either to write or read the data, but operations on files include creating and opening the file, right? Creating the file and opening a file, writing a data into a file, traversing a file, reading data from file, and so on. Python has IO module that contains different functions for handling files. IO means what? Input output. okay, and different functions for handling files, that is your opening and closing a text file. Opening a file, to open a file in Python we use the open function. The syntax of open is as follows: file object open file name access mode. Okay, file object opening a file, for that purpose what we will do, file object we have is equals to open into bracket file name and access mode. We will see the example also. This function returns a file object called the handle, which is stored in the variable file object. File object is as a variable. Okay, it is considered as a variable. We can use this variable to transfer data to and from file, that is read and write. Okay, to and from the file, that is read and write, that is input and output. Okay, by calling the function defined in Python's IO module. IO module means input output. We are reading the file and we are writing the file. Okay, if file does not exist, the above statement creates a new empty file and assigns it name as we specify in the statement. A file object has certain attributes that tells it basic information about the file, such as file.close returns true if the file is closed and false otherwise. Means what? If we are considering the file.close, that returns true if the file is closed, otherwise it returns false. Then file.mode returns the access mode in which the file was open. Access mode we will return in which the file was open. Then the file.name returns the name of the file. Close will return true or false. If it is true, then it will be closed. If it is false, it will be opened. And mode, access mode will be returned name of the file. The file name should be the name of the file that has to be opened. Okay, if the file is not in the correct working directory, then we need to specify the complete path of the file along with the name. We have to write the name of the file. Then access mode, in access mode what? Reading access, writing access, both reading and writing will be at the plus. Then A is appending at the end of the existing file. B is what? Handle binary text mode. Okay, this is the access mode, different access modes. Okay, some of the other file modes are write RB plus. This is the activity 2.2. You can see it on the screen, that is RB plus, WB plus, AB plus. Okay, this is what? Activity. So this is the different access mode. Okay, RB you can learn by yourself. Okay, you have to learn it by yourself. What is RB, what is WB? This is the homework. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. You can ask me on the comments. Okay, so I can just tell you this one, that is R is your reading, W is for writing, plus is for reading and writing, and A is for appending at the end of the existing file. B is what? Binary or the text mode. R is opens the file in the read only mode, that is beginning of the file. Okay, read only mode. RB is what? Binary and read only mode. RB. Okay, you can see it, this is the activity. I can tell you, sorry for that. If you can read it by your own, otherwise you can take it from this file open mode. Okay, I can tell you. I thought maybe it is the activity, so you can do it by your own, but over here they have mentioned what is RB and what is R. So R is the read only mode, RB is the read only mode and binary mode. R plus is both read and write mode. Plus R is what? You can write R plus also, you can write plus R also. W is what? Write mode. Okay, WB is read, write and binary mode. Plus, you have written plus. Okay, file is read, write and binary mode. Again it is WB, that is the write and binary. Okay, Then A is what? Append mode. Append means what? You have to add it. Then A plus or plus A, that is append and read mode. That is your end of file. Okay, now consider the following example. My object is equals to open my file dot text, or it is A plus. Okay, so you have to open it. Example, my object is equals to open, then my file dot text. Okay, you have to consider a text file and then appending something to that text file. Then in the about statement, the file myfile.txt is open in the append and read mode. The file object will be opened in the append and read mode. That is my object. My object is one of the variable. Then you have to open some of the file. So that is your myfile.txt, and you have to appending something to that text file. Okay, so that is the example. Closing a file. Closing a file, you have to use close method for that. For that purpose, file object dot close method will be used for the closing the file. Okay, then opening a file with open file name access mode as file object. For opening the file, there will be one of the example with open. With keyword will be used. So this is the syntax with the clause, that is with open myfile.txt. R means R plus means read as my object, then content is equals to my object dot read. You have to open the file, you have to read it. Okay, for that purpose we have to use the open. Again, simply you can use close also for closing the file. The same syntax will be used. Instead of writing the open, you have to write close. Okay, sorry, yes, you have to write just close, file object dot close for closing a file, and this is for opening the file. Then writing to the text file. Now for the text file, you have to write for writing a single string, and write lines for writing the sequence of strings. Write is for what? Writing a single string. You have to write the single string, and write lines for writing the sequence of strings. Okay, now write method. For write method, you have to use my object is equals to open myfile.txt and w. My object is equals to open myfile.txt w. Okay, so for that purpose, you have to open this file and write a file. Then my object dot write. Hey, I have started using files in Python, so that will be write method. Okay, now then you will close the file. That is write method. Again, slash n is for to the next line. Over here you have written my object is equals to open myfile.txt write file, marks will be equals to 58. Then my object dot write, that is str string marks, then my object dot close. Okay, you will open the file, you will write it, and then you will close it. Okay, this is the syntax. Then write lines. Then write lines, in that what will you will use? My object is equals to open myfile.txt w. For that purpose, what you will use? You will use it. This is the syntax you have to use. Okay, so this is the my object is equals to open myfile.txt write. Open the file, write the file. This is the lines. Okay, slash n, that will be in the next line. Then my object dot write lines, lines. My object dot close. Okay, this is your open will be there, then lines will be there. Then write lines is for what? Write line is for what? over here I have mentioned, wait a minute, write line is for sequence of strings, write is for single string. So over here we have used write lines for lines because it is a sequence of strings, then object, that file will be closed. So this is the output. Hello everyone, writing multiple strings, this is the third line. Okay, now reading from a text file. From a text file, how we will read it? We can use it R plus W plus A plus. R is for read, R plus is for read, then W plus is for write, read, write, read, and then the append mode. Okay, right? You can see over here, that is file both and read and write. Okay, I just tell you the same thing. Then next one is what? The read method. File object dot read, and then my object is equals to open my file dot text read, my object dot read 10. Hello everyone, my object dot close. Okay, reading something, opening the file, again reading something, and then closing the file. Okay, so you can see over here, this one, that is my object open something, read something, and then closing something. Okay, that will be printing. Print also we can use in Python, directly printing something by reading it. So that will be print. Okay, and then my object will be closed. Okay, this is the entire content is read. This is for reading purpose. Okay, now next one, read line n method. Slash n you know for the new line. So we are opening the file, reading the file, and then closing the file. Then again opening the file, reading the file, printing the file, read line, okay, and then closing the file. So what is the difference between this and this? In this we are using the write lines. For this line will be over here and then closing the file. You can see over here, this is the write line, and then again closing the file. This line will be over here, and write line is used for the multiple strings. Okay, so over here the same thing will be there, that over here we are using read line. So this is for only reading purpose. Okay, and then hello everyone, slash n, that is for the new line. Now again read lines method. Over here we are using n, that is for the new line. Okay, and over here we are just using read lines. So for that purpose we are using some of the text file, reading it, printing it, and then closing it. Read line is for what? Method reads all the lines and return the lines along with the new line as a list of strings. Okay, so this is the read line. So this is for printing purpose, read lines. Okay, we are reading the lines and printing something, and over here what they have written? They have written read line and then closing it. Okay, so what will be the output over here? We are using 10 characters at read line, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so that is read line 10. The method reads one complete line from the file where the each line terminates with the new line character. It can also be used to read a specified number of bytes of data from a file, but maximum up to the new line. Okay, in the following example, the second statement reads the first 10 characters of first lines of the text file and displays them to the screen. Okay, we are using the statement reads and first 10 characters of the first line of the text file and display them to the screen. So that will be reading and then writing also. because we are using print over here. Okay, for printing purpose we are using it. So over here the next one is what, my object is equals to open my file dot text r, that is reading purpose. Again read line will be there in the d variable. Again for line in d, words is equals to line dot split print words. These are the different words over here. So these are the different words. In the output, each string is written as element of list. However, if split lines is used instead of split, then each line is written as element of list as shown in the output. So for line in D, this is D1. Okay, then words line dot split line print words. We are printing words. So these are the words. Okay, these are the words and these are the line. Because of that we are using line over there, line and D. So what is the D? D is your object dot read line, and line is what? Line is in the D. So this will be splitting, and again we are printing words. So these are the words. Again we are printing line dot split lines. We are splitting the lines. Okay, because of that instead of using slash n we are using this method split lines. Again print words. Again we are using this different lines. 3 lines we are using. Again writing and reading to the text file. F object is equals to open text file dot text w. F object is equals to open text file dot text w. Sentence is equals to input, enter the contents to be written in the file. F object dot write sentence. F object dot close. Okay, then print. Over here writing and reading to the text file. So we are writing something. Over here opening the file by writing something. Again we are writing these sentences. Over here we are taking the input, then again closing that file, again printing something, again opening the next file, no, that file only, sorry, again opening the same file, then pulling over the file object to the read the file for that string in F object, print string F object dot close. Okay, we are printing the string. Okay, over here string, over here what they have mentioned for string, printing str, for str in F object, right? Okay, this as str in F object is print str, that is F object dot close. So whatever will be there in F object, that will be in the string, and again we are printing the string and then closing that object, closing that file. Okay, understood? That is writing and reading to the text file. So this program uses the write method because we are writing over here w. Then again this is the output. This is the output. Enter the contents to be written in the file. Roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now reading the contents of the file. Roll number is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the output of the program. Okay. Understood? So what is the difference between reading and writing? That is also one of the questions. Because if we are using W, that will be write something, and then you can use it as a print also, and you can use it as the write line and write also. Okay, if you are writing something, you can use it as W and again printing something, and if you are using write line, you have to use print also, or you can use it as a reading and again printing something, or you can write it or again printing something. If you are using write, then you have to use you have to take some of the input and again you have to write something. Okay, then this is the answer. Enter the roll contents to be written in the file. This is the roll number. Now reading and content of the file. This is the roll number. Okay, this is the output of the program. Roll number. Over here I have taken the roll number, right? Where it is actually you have to take it input. Now contents of the written in the file, writing and reading to the text file. Over here I have just written writing also and reading also. First you will write, you will read and you will print it. Okay, so this is the output of the program 2.1, writing and reading to the file. So you are taking the input over here, that enter the content to be written in the file, that is roll number. Now reading and content of the file, reading it. Okay, so you will write it and then you will read it. So over here print str also given. So printing, for printing purpose they have not mentioned. Okay, according to me over here there should be some of the output. Roll number, this is the array, right? So over here they have mentioned the roll number, creating the data, then writing to the file and closing to the file. So over here they are printing something, right? Print str. So you have to print something over here, str. So according to me they have mentioned just writing, reading over here. So this is the output of the file. You have to write something and then you have to read something. Okay, setting of offsets in a file. The functions that we have learned till now are used to access the data sequentially from a file, but if we want to access data in the random fashion, then Python gives us seek and tell functions to do so. Okay, seek method and tell method, this is the offsets in a file. First we will see what is tell and then we will see what is seek. The function returns an integer that specifies the current position of the file object in the file. The position so specified is the byte position from the beginning of the file till the current position of the file object. The syntax of the tell is file object dot tell. Tell is something like position of the file object in the file. Okay, position of the file object in the file. And seek is for what? File object dot seek, that is offset comma reference point. Over here what will be the reference point? This is the position. Okay, and offset will be the counted. 0 is beginning of the file, 1 is current position of the file, 2 is end of the file, and what is the offset? 3. Okay, so file object dot seek is 5,0. Why it is 5,0? Because seek is, this is one of the example. By default the value of reference point is 0. Okay, value of reference point is 0 because it is the beginning of the file. That is, the offset is counted from beginning of the file. For example, the statement file object dot seek 5,0 will position the file object at 5th byte position from the beginning of the file. Okay, 5th byte position from the beginning of the file. The code in the program 2.2 below demonstrate the uses of seek and tell. Okay, wait a minute. So what is seek over here? This is the 5th byte position from the beginning of the file. Whatever file we have taken, that will considered as the 5th byte position from the beginning of the file. The code in the program 2.2 below demonstrate the uses of seek and tell. Okay, already I have taught you that tell is what? The tel is what? The position of the object in the file. And seek is what? Seek is what? Seek is basically the offset, and that will be counted, and starting position of the object. Okay, and over here this is the example, that is fifth file object is at the fifth byte position from the beginning of the file, and 0 will be what? Your reference point. Okay, and offset will be what? The number of counted objects or numbers, whatever will be there. Okay, so that's it for today. In the next lecture I will teach you the remaining part of this file handling. Okay, so what I taught you, the introduction to the files, what is exactly the file, types of file, that is text file and binary files, then opening and closing the text file, what object we are using over here for opening the file, and what for closing the file, what are the file modes, then closing a file, then opening the file with the clause. Okay, then writing it to the text file, that write and write lines, then write method. Okay, then write lines. Write method is for what? For writing something, and then printing something. Write lines is for list of string, that is sequence of string, and write is for single string. Then again reading from a text file, that is for read method, and read line is for reading something, and then returning something. Okay, for both purpose we are reading, but that will be in the next line, and this is for the single string. Okay, now next what I taught you, that is offset and offsets, setting offsets in the file, tel method and seek method. Okay, tel is for what? Current position of the file object, and seek is for your counting and your position of starting position of the file object. Offsets also will be there. This is one of the example I taught you. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much.